Fall is a beautiful time of year with a lot going on. Days are getting shorter, the trees change color, and Halloween and Thanksgiving are just around the corner. It's the perfect time to go for a scenic hike, wear your cutest mittens, or cozy up around the fire with a hot chocolate. A lot of people love fall. 7 reasons fall is the absolute best season for reading, while many people love fall to watch the leaves change colors, enjoy cooler temperatures, and participate in exciting events. Fall is also a wonderful time to read a good book. In this article, we are giving you 7 fun reasons why you should read this season. So now is the time to grab a yummy pumpkin spice latte and enjoy a good book. As the nights draw longer and the days get colder, most people start mourning the end of summer, except for book lovers. Because book lovers know something that the rest of the world doesn't. Fall is the best season for reading. So instead of feeling sad that the hot weather is coming to an end, head on down to Barnes & Noble and prepare to welcome fall in style, with a house full of books. Don't worry about your towering TBR getting out of control. In fall, there are so many chances for reading that you'll finally make it through all those books you've been holding on to for months. Now that your diary isn't so packed with barbecues and beach trips and pool parties, you've actually got the time to make your way through your bookshelves. In fall, nobody judges you for passing up an invitation to stay home and read. In fact, they're all secretly thinking of doing the same. It's a fact. Reading in autumn is just too good to pass up. And yeah, us book lovers are perfectly content to curl up with a good book anytime, any place, any season. Sure, reading on the beach is a treat, or under a Christmas tree. But reading in fall is even better than all of those, and here's why. 1. It's getting cozy as temperatures start to drop. You can dim the light, and in the fall, it's still warm enough to do that. 3. It's the most beautiful season, fall, with all of its beautiful colors. Just looks like a scene straight out of a book. A lot of the biggest book releases happen in the fall, so you better dig out those old book vouchers, because you're gonna need them. 5. It's some great ones left over from summer, to remember all those brand new books that hit stores over the summer, and that you totally planned to read on vacation but then got distracted by clear blue seas and cocktails. Yeah, well, you can read them now. And trust me, you're going to love them. Six. Fall drinks pair well with books. Is there anything more heavenly than reading a book while sipping on a pumpkin spice latte? No, there is not. 7. You have the most reading time. Summer is such an action-packed season, and when Christmas rolls around, you'll find yourself swept away with gifts to buy and turkeys to eat. Fall is 3 months of glorious, uninterrupted reading time, so go enjoy it. Why all true book lovers know autumn is the greatest season. You can keep your sticky beach reads. Autumn is the time for true bookworms to shine. Alice Vincent on why the jumper months can't come soon enough. While most people are stretching out the holiday season and making the most of those pink-streaked sunsets, you can shove your heat waves and sweaty backs into the scratchy beach bag from whence it came and chuck me a cardie. Autumn is summer's sophisticated sister, and I love it. The time for leaf crunching, sofa cozying, and book devouring is upon us. The best season for reading is here. Fierce debate exists as to whether seasons begin on the first day of their according months, as per the meteorological calendar, or on the equinoxes and solstices, as per the astrological one. I was born on the autumn equinox, so you can probably guess which I plump for. In any case, the 3 months between September and December are the time when the temperature plummets. The nights vastly outlast the days, and, in the UK at least, we experience drizzle at least once a week. September is the thinking person's January, but I see it as a time of renewal. While I'm now far too old to justify the purchase of a new pencil case, the sense of a new school year is a hard one to shift. September brings with it the opportunity to try something new, to get on with those unfinished tasks and mainline the to-read pile before the mania of Christmas sets in. I tend to think of it as the thinking person's January, rather than attempting to resolve anything in the pall of a grim festive hangover. There's plenty of low evening night to tackle new endeavors. And by that, of course, I really mean books. Summer may be the season for those who can stay cool in a heat wave, but autumn is the nerd's party. It's a stretch of time where being indoors, wearing scarves, and wearing scarves indoors is legitimized. It's a time where we call a Thursday of the month Super Thursday, purely because hundreds of books are being released on the same day. It's a time for bookshop browsing, and then, ideally, reading them by a fire in an accommodating pub. It's a time when, if you're particularly dedicated, you can take stock of the talked-about reads of the year so far, and make sure you carve time for them before New Year's Eve. Reading can, of course, be undertaken during the other 3, vastly inferior seasons. Once the fog of Christmas and New Year's Eve has passed, I tend to find myself munching through books with a concentrated fervor in winter. But once the weather starts to warm up, distraction wanes. For all of the delight in choosing beach books, summer reading can be a brutal thing. Sand and spines, a good reading session interrupted by the joy of other sunbathers, sticky, greasy, sun-creamy pages. Before learning how to read a book effectively, it's important to understand why you're reading it in the first place. Obviously, people read for different reasons, maybe for entertainment, relaxation, or perhaps to learn about a new topic. Offers new insights and perspectives. First of all, reading gives you a new perspective on things. In everyday life, we normally only consider a single perspective, that is, our own. But through the magic of words and storytelling, we can get acquainted with so many more perspectives. And this is important. The world is not always what you make it out to be, and your own perspective is not always the most accurate or the most useful. Besides, there are so many things that you have not experienced or done, things that you would normally never get your own perspective on. That's where reading can really support. Through different perspectives, you gain insight. Insight into problems you've personally never experienced, but that can help you to grow. It also helps to develop a sense of empathy and humility, because there are so many things you don't know, and so many things you haven't experienced. You don't need to be a CEO in order to get a perspective on the CEO's life. You don't need to be a soldier in order to get some insight into war and the experience of war. This is high level, but you also don't need to be a leader currently. In order to develop your leadership skills, you can go through the great examples of historical leaders in order to get you started. Reading about new perspective knowledge. If you want to improve your leadership skills, there's a book for that. If you want to be a better listener, you can find books for that. And so on. This is an essential aspect of growth reading. You need to challenge yourself to read books that offer you something new. New knowledge, new insights, or new perspectives are great reasons to pick up on some of the background, some of the techniques, and some of the artistry that goes into cooking. You will still need to practice to apply it yourself, of course, but the foundation has been laid. Your frame of reference. Besides the specific history, and maybe even on culture, we don't really learn a lot from that. But by reading a diverse selection of books, the puzzle pieces of history start to fall together. You will start to notice how things are linked together, and how one cultural phenomena was a reaction to something else. 3. Someone has encountered this before, although every human being is unique and each of us has their own complexities. I can guarantee you that someone somewhere has encountered a very similar situation or problem and has written about it. Stuck in your career, relationship problems, feeling uncreative or unproductive, a person much wiser than you has experienced the same and has even written about it. So why not take advantage of that? As Bismarck stated, fools say that they learn by experience. I prefer to profit by others' experience, so make use of it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel for every situation and every problem. You don't have to experience everything in practice in order to become wiser or grow as a person. You just need to select the right book that can help you with whatever situation it is that you're currently facing. 4. Develops thinking skills. Reading books, especially when they're difficult and slightly above your level, challenges you. It makes you think or struggle extra hard, but the more of an effort you make, and the more you claw your way through a story or analysis, the more you will learn and grow. You will digest the information, think about it, and make your own conclusions. You will find that you agree with some elements of the book, but not with others. In short, it will develop your critical thinking skills, which will help you in the application of the book lessons into practice. On top, when you've read a book, you will internalize some of its messages. It can be a career message or a life strategy, but you will probably take away something and try to use it in daily life. But before you do this, you think about it, you question it, you might try to explain it to others or ask for their opinions. This application reinforces your critical thinking skills. 5. Improves focus and concentration in the modern world of flashing phones, pop-up notifications, FOMO, multitasking, and other distractions. Reading a book is something special. You focus on one thing, and one thing only, which does not have any notifications or distractions. You are fully immersed in the story and you're ready to absorb new knowledge and think analytically. And this improves your concentration and focus. But remember, multitasking and distractions, even small ones, are extremely detrimental to your productivity. So turn off your cell phone. Don't try to do any other things and just focus on what's in front of you. At first, this might be hard, especially if you're plagued by restlessness and a lack of focus currently. But persist and resist, and at some point you will find that it becomes easier to focus and concentrate. And the best thing about all this, it doesn't just apply to reading. As soon as your concentration improves, you will find you can apply it to other areas as well. Your focus at work might improve, you might become a better listener, etc. So in the world of flashing devices calling for our attention, be the person who can disconnect and who can focus and concentrate. 6. Improves empathy. Reading books, especially fiction, can also make you more empathetic. If you transport yourself into the story, you experience the things that the book's characters are experiencing and feel the feelings they are feeling. Maybe the story you're reading has no reflection on anything in your own life, but that doesn't matter, because transporting yourself into the story helps to improve your sense of empathy. And who knows? Maybe after reading for a while, you might find that it becomes easier to feel with and for other people, or perhaps to understand their situations better. In a world that is very egocentric and where the focus is on the individual, this is not a bad skill to cultivate. 7. It's cheap. Let's face it, books are a cheap source of learning and entertainment. Ratio between the amount of knowledge, skills, and growth you get out of a single book compared to the cost is insane. Even if a book provides you only with one new idea or one new piece of knowledge, it's still a good deal. If you learn the basics of a new skill through a book, you've just saved yourself money you would spend on a course or on hiring someone else. If you got one good business idea through a book, you might set yourself up to earn thousands if not millions in the future. If you got one good piece of advice on how to be a better leader or a better person, the cost of the book will be paid of 1,000 times during your lifetime. In short, books are cheap, but the potential benefits can be amazing. 8. Readers are leaders. Finally, looking throughout history, there is a clear correlation between people of high achievement and reading. As Truman famously said, "Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers." And while it may not be a perfect correlation, I'm sure you can find leaders who are not readers. It makes absolute sense that there is a connection between the two. Our lives are relatively short and we cannot experience everything, but we can read about it. And that gives us an edge over those who don't read because we understand the world, people, historical events, and the importance of certain things better. It helps us to make the right decisions, both in life and in business, and put value on those things that matter the most. While it's no guarantee that reading will help you to achieve the goals you want to achieve, there is also no harm in trying. Many people throughout history have read themselves to high and powerful positions, but more people have probably found comfort and guidance in books on how to lead their everyday life. And that's the important part. There are different reasons to read, but whatever your personal reason might be, if you find that it helps, you should continue with it. Reading for growth is something that everyone can try and benefit from. Conclusion in short, there are many reasons to read a book if you want to grow or improve yourself, whether it is to find new skills or knowledge, or if you want to solve a problem you have. Of course, there are other reasons as well. It improves your vocabulary, reduces stress. Reading fiction before bed can improve your sleep. It can improve your writing skills, memory, or your creativity and imagination. Books offer an excellent source of knowledge and can be a real comfort in life. It also allows us to grow beyond our years and our formal education. In fact, if you want to live a unique life, if you want to be more than a number, you will have to differentiate yourself from the rest. And the easiest way to do that, to focus on your personal growth and to educate yourself through the teachings of others. So, the next time you're feeling stressed, remember the benefits of reading for pleasure and let the tension melt away. Improve your mental health. The pros of reading also extend to mental health. Researchers studied the effects of self-help books and found that many have a measurable impact on depression or other mood disorders. As a result, the UK's National Health Service, NHS, began a book prescription program called Reading Well. This service prescribes self-help books curated by medical experts for certain conditions. The act of using books as therapy is called bibliotherapy. So, if you're struggling, and despite what life looks like on Instagram, we all struggle from time to time, consider reading one of the books on the NHS's curated list, which are proven to help ease symptoms. Live longer. This last effect of reading is perhaps one of the most exciting and interesting. It turns out that the health benefits of reading can help us live longer. A 12-year study on health and retirement found that those who read books survived around 2 years longer than those who didn't read books or read magazines and other forms of media. Additionally, those who read for 30 minutes a day, 3.5 hours per week, were 23% more likely to outlive those who didn't read often. Pretty cool, right? As noted above, reading is a great way to exercise our brains to make us smarter and sharper. However, the knock-on effect of this is that reading also helps prevent age-related cognitive decline. One study found that older adults who regularly read or play mentally challenging games like chess are 2.5 times less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. On the other hand, people who don't exercise their gray matter stand a chance of losing brain power, says the study's primary author, Dr. Robert Friedland. No wonder the U.S.'s National Institute on Aging recommends champions the health benefits of reading daily. All in all, When you read every day, you're more likely to retain your mental abilities and live longer. How to determine a reading schedule. Despite your best efforts, it's sometimes difficult to stick with your plan to finish that list of books. Other projects get in the way. You may find yourself overwhelmed by the size of the book you've chosen. You may just let the habit of reading slide or slip until you've forgotten much of the plot and/or characters. And you feel that you might as well just start over. Here's a solution. Set up a reading schedule to get you through those books. All you need to get started is a pen, some paper, a calendar, and of course, books. How to set up a reading schedule. Pick a list of books you'd like to read. Determine when you will start reading your first book. Select the order in which you'd like to read the books on your reading list. Decide how many pages you will read every day. If you've decided that you'll read 5 pages per day, count the number of pages in the book that you've selected to read first. Write the page span, 1-5, down on paper next to your selected start date. It's also a great idea to write your schedule up on the calendar, so you can track your reading progress by crossing off the date when you finished your reading for that day. Continue through the book, tracking where each stopping point will be. You may decide to mark the stopping points in your book with a post-it or pencil mark, so the reading will seem more manageable. As you page through the book, you may decide to alter your reading schedule, add or subtract pages for a particular day, so you'll stop and/or start on a new chapter or section of the book. Once you've determined the schedule for the first book, you can move on to the next book on your reading list. Follow the same process of paging through the book to determine your reading schedule. Don't forget to write the page numbers down next to the appropriate date on a piece of paper and/or on your calendar. Get outside support by structuring your reading schedule in this way. You should find it easier to get through those books on your reading list. You can also get your friends involved. Share your schedule with them and encourage them to join you in your reading. It's great fun. You'll be able to discuss your reading experience with others. You could even turn this reading schedule into a book club. How to read effectively. So, you want to learn how to get the most out of your reading experience. Reading effectively is a piece of cake whether you're reading for school or fun. Not only will these tips help you retain and comprehend the information you're learning, but it makes the reading experience that much more enjoyable. In this article, we'll break down some simple tricks you can try to get the most out of a text. Things you should know. Establish reading goals before you start reading. Take notes to help yourself comprehend the material. Ask yourself questions before, during, and after reading to solidify the information in your mind. Make an overall reading goal. Establish a comprehension goal before closely reading the text. Think about why you need to understand the material in front of you. What is the end goal of reading? This goal can be about finding a specific solution to a problem, understanding the causes and effects of a certain event, or being able to define a new word or idea. Jot down your goal in a notebook, so you can glance at it if you get stuck while reading. If you're reading Little Dorrit, decide if you want to explain Dickens' use of a certain plot device, or enjoy Victorian fiction for the first time. If you're reading SPIN selling, consider whether you'd like to come away with actionable sales tactics or a general introduction to the topic of sales. Also consider how much you want to read and if there's a different comprehension goal for each section or passage. Review the author, title, and synopsis. Determine the genre and purpose to grasp a brief understanding. Before you start reading, take a good look at the author and title. Read the back or inside panels of the book or the blurb at the start of an article. This information will give you an overall feeling for what's to come. The genre, tone, author's background, etc. Knowing what you're about to read will help you get in the right mindset for that type of text. Instance. You'd grab a pen and notebook before reading a history book, but you might grab a cup of hot cocoa to read a mystery novel. Skim through the text. Get a preview of what's to come by flipping through the pages.